So today we will study about the second theme, and that is empire across three continents. This is the chapter which deals in a empire which was extended in three continents, which we will read in the further slides. This is the Roman Empire at that time. You can see in the south it has Sahara Desert. In the north it has Atlantic Ocean. In the east it has Black Sea, and in the west there are Atlas Mountains, Morocco, and Mediterranean Sea is also there. So this is the area where the whole Roman Empire used to exist. In the beginning, this Roman Empire was a group of villages near the Tiber River, and which is now in Italy. And around 750 BC, these villages united to form the city of Rome. The area of this empire is mostly of Europe. Large part of the Fertile Crescent, North Africa, Europe and Africa, separated by Mediterranean Sea, expanded to all directions, north and south. North bounded by Rhine and Danube, and in south it has Sahara Desert, which I have showed in the map. The sources through which we get the details about the empire is texts, contemporary history like letters, speeches, sermons, laws. Another source is the documents, that is the inscriptions cut on stones and documents on papyrus, scrolls, contracts, accounts, letters and official documents. And material remains like buildings, monuments, pottery, coins, mosaics, etc. The most powerful empires at that time was Rome and Iran. This is the time period around from the birth of Christ till 630 CE. The Romans and Iranians were neighbors, separated by a narrow strip of land that ran along the river Euphrates. They were rivals and fought against each other for much of their history. The areas controlled by the Romans and the Iranians. The Roman Empire stretched from Spain in Europe to Syria in the east, along the Mediterranean Sea into Africa's desert. In the north, its boundaries were marked by the river Rhine and Danube. In the south, by the Sahara Desert. Iran controlled the entire area south of Caspian Sea and to eastern Arabia, and at the times large part of Afghanistan as well. The phase of Roman Empire. The Roman Empire can broadly divided into two phases, that is the early Roman Empire and the late Roman Empire. The whole period down to the main part of the 3rd century can be called the early empire, and the period after 3rd century can be called the late empire or the late antiquity. The differences between the Roman Empire and the Iranian Empire. The major differences are as follows. The Roman Empire had a diverse population as compared to that of Iran. The Parthians and Sasanians dynasty that ruled Iran in this period ruled largely over the Iranian population, whereas the Roman Empire was a variety of territories and cultures bound by the common system of government. Many languages were spoken in Roman Empire, but for the administrative purpose only Greek and Latin were used. The upper class of East spoke Greek, and those in the western part spoke Latin. All the people in the Roman Empire were subjected to of single ruler, the emperor, irrespective of where they lived and what language they spoke. The three main players in the political history of the empire. They were the emperor, second is the senate, and third is the army. Emperor was known as Principe. Senate were the representative of the wealthy family of the Roman Empire, and who are basically Italian descendant, mostly landowners. And the army, which was a paid and professional army where soldiers had to put up 25 years of service. The existence of paid army was a distinctive feature of the Roman Empire. The army was the largest single organized body of the Roman Empire. It had the power to decide the fate of emperors. The army was hated by the senators. Thus, it can be said that the emperor, the aristocracy, and the army were the three players in the political history of the empire. An army was a very effective thing. It had the power to change the emperor as well. Succession to the throne in the Roman Empire. Family descendant, either natural or adopted, was a decisive factor in the succession to the throne in the Roman Empire. The army was wedded to this concept. For example, Tiberius was not the natural but adopted son of Augustus. The Augustan age is recommended as the age of peace. It brought peace after decades of internal strife and centuries of military conquest. External warfare was also much less common in the first 2 centuries. Now, administration of the vast Roman Empire. The vast Roman Empire was controlled and administered with the help of urbanization. All the territories of the empire were organized into provinces and were subject to taxation. Carthage, Alexandria, and Antioch that lined the shores of the Mediterranean were the foundations of the imperial system. It was through these cities that the government was able to collect tax from the provincial countryside, which generated much of the wealth. This shows that the local upper class was actively involved with the Roman states in administering their own territories and collecting taxes from them. Throughout the 2nd and 3rd century, the provincial upper classes provided experienced officers that administered the provinces and commanded the army. Thus, they became the new elite of the Roman Empire. They controlled the army and looked after the provincial administration. They became much more powerful than the senatorial class because they had the backing of the emperors. Emperor Gallienus consolidated their rise to power by excluding senators from military command. He did this in order to prevent control of the empire from falling into their hands. The major Roman cities were Carthage, Alexandria, and Antioch. The village as well as the magistrate, municipal corporation all included a city in Rome. An urban center with its own magistrate, city council, and a territory containing villages under its jurisdiction, the villages could be upgraded to the status of city and vice versa, generally as a mark of favor from the emperor. The advantage of living in the city was that it might be better provided for food during shortages and famines in the countryside. The cities had public baths and the urban population enjoyed a higher level of entertainment. The 3rd century crisis. The 1st and the 2nd century were a period of peace, prosperity, and economic expansion, but the 3rd century was a period of crisis. In 225, new dynasty called Sasanian emerged in Iran. They were more aggressive and expanding rapidly in the directions of the Euphrates. The Germanic tribe, that is the barbarians, began to move against the Rhine and Danube frontiers. From 233 to 280 saw repeated invasions. The Romans were forced to abandon much of the territories beyond the Danube. The quick succession of emperors, that is 25 emperors in 47 years, is a sign of strain faced by the empire in the 3rd century. Gender, literacy, and culture. Structure of the family. There was widespread prevalence of nuclear family. Adult son did not live with their parents, and it was exceptional for adult brothers to share a common household. Slaves were, however, included in the family. If we talk about the status of the women, they enjoyed considerable legal rights in owning and managing property. They were married off in the late teens or early 13s. After marriage was the general norm. Women were often subject to domination by their husbands. Wives were even beaten by their husbands. The typical form of marriage was one where the wife did not transfer to her husband's authority but retained full rights in the property of her natal family. That means she had full rights on her father's property after marriage. They could become independent property owners after their father's death. Divorce was easy for both men as well as women. The rate of literacy varied greatly between different parts of the empire. Literacy was widespread in army officers, estate managers, and soldiers. Casual literacy exists and it varied from place to place. There was a wall in Pompeii which carried advertisements and graffiti which indicates high level of casual literacy. The cultural diversity was reflected in many ways and at many levels. There was a vast diversity of religious cults and local deities, and the plurality of languages that were spoken, the style of dress that were worn, the food the people ate, their forms of social organizations, and their types of settlement all reflected cultural diversities. Different languages were spoken in different areas. Most of the linguistic cultures were purely oral, at least until a script was invented for them. As late as 5th century, American began to be used as written form of language. Armenian began to be used as written form of language. In other areas, the spread of Latin displaced the other widespread written forms of language. The Roman Empire had substantial economic infrastructure of harbors, mines, quarries, brickyards, olive oil factories, etc. Goods for trade consisted mainly wheat, wine, and olive oil, and they came from Spain, the Gallic provinces, North Africa, Egypt, and Italy. These areas had conditions best suited for these crops. Spanish olive oil was a vast commercial enterprise that reached its peak in the years 140 to 160. The Roman Empire included regions that had a reputation for exceptionally fertility, example Campania. Italy, Sicily, Faum in Egypt, Galilee, Byzan, uh, Byzantium, southern Gaul, southern Spain. These areas had best conditioned crops. The large expenses for Roman territories were in a much less advanced stage. Transhumanism was widespread in the countryside of Numidia. As Roman estates expanded in the North Africa, the pastures of those communities were drastically reduced and their movements more tightly regulated. Even in Spain, the north was economically much less developed. In these areas, peasantries who were Celtic speaking lived in hilltop villages known as casella. In the Roman Empire, water power was very efficiently used around the Mediterranean, and they were advanced in the water powered milling technology, the use of hydraulic mining techniques in Spanish gold and silver mines, well organized commercial and banking networks exist. Widespread use of money indicates that the Roman Empire had sophisticated economy. Slavery was an institution deeply rooted in the ancient Roman world. Though slavery was institutionalized and was greatly used as labor, but it was not always slaves that performed labor in the Roman economy. As peace was established in the 1st century, the supply of slaves declined and the users of slave labor had to turn to slave breeding or cheap substitutes such as wage labor, which were easily dispensable. Most of the time, free labor was used as slaves had to be provided with food and maintained throughout the year, which proved expensive. This is the reason that the slaves were not employed in the agriculture. On the other hand, slaves freedom were extensively used in jobs where labor was not required in large number, that is, as business managers. There was a presumption that without supervision no work would ever get done. So supervision was most important for both freed slaves and hired slaves. For a better supervision, the slaves were grouped into gangs of 10 so that it could be easy to see who is putting in effort and who is not. This method was criticized by Pliny the Elder. He was of the opinion that the slave gangs were the worst method of organizing production because slaves who worked in gangs were usually chained together by their feet. Although all this look harsh, yet similar principles of labor control are being enforced in most of the factories in the world today. Debt contracts were a type of agreements between the private employees, their workers. In these contract, it was claimed that the employees were in debt to their employers and as a result were under tighter control. A large number of families went in the debt bondage in order to survive. The regime established by Augustus, the first emperor in 27 BCE, was called the Principate, leading citizen, not the absolute ruler. This was done out of the respect for the Senate. External warfare was also much less common in the first 2 centuries. The empire inherited by Tiberius from Augustus was already so vast that further expansion was felt to be unnecessary. In fact, the Augustan age is remembered for the peace which I have already told you before. Pax Romana, that is Roman peace, was the long period of relative peace and minimal expansion by military forces experienced by the Roman Empire in the 1st and the 2nd century AD. Since it was established by Augustus, it is sometimes called Pax Augusta. Its span was approximately 206 years, that is from 27 BC to 180 AD. They used water power for milling and for mining. There existed well-organized commercial and banking network. They used money, so Roman economy was a strong economy. Transhumance is the herdsmen, regular annual movements between the higher mountain regions and low-lying grounds in the search of pastures for sheep and other flocks. They are in that area, the pastoral community was known as transhumance. Slavery was an institution deep-rooted in the ancient world. It existed both in the Mediterranean and the Near East, but Roman labor completely not done by the slaves. During a republican period, there was many slaves.